So the first question I like to ask for these things, guys, is what got you into acting?
Oh, I'm an accidental actor. I fell into this world. So I was visiting my stepdad in California, who's also an actor. He played my dad on Ruby Herring. Does anybody like Ruby Herring? There you go. But then he was too young, so they recast him. They said, he does not look like your dad. And I was like, he raised me. He is my dad. So that was awkward. But then I just fell into it. And they said, do you want to go on auditions? And I was like, not really. And then I did it anyway. And then I booked a TV show, Summerland. Back in the day, I think it was Zac Efron's first TV show, and Brian Quanten from True Blood, and Jesse McCartney, and Lori Loughlin. Very talented actors that I learned a lot from, because I hadn't even had an acting class. And I was out there not moving my arms when I was walking, and my first acting class was watching myself on TV, which is humbling through and through.
That's a tough way to learn.
That's brutal. Like, why is she doing that? Yeah, that was wicked.
I grew up, I thought I was going to be a baseball player. And then, but all along the way, and I shouldn't have been a baseball, I was a kid. I was not going to be a baseball player, but I thought I was. And my parents noticed that I was always singing and dancing around the house. And so I grew up watching musicals, like Camelot and Hans Christian Andersen and West Side Story, and which I can't believe I was 6 watching West Side Story. It's not exactly 6-year-old appropriate, but I was. And so I would just sing all the songs around the house, and so they assumed he probably wants to perform. And so they kind of nudged me into it, and they dragged me actually crying to my first audition for a play in high school. I was actually, they're not clapping for high school, that would be great. And so yeah, so I went there and I got cast, and I never looked back, and I never played baseball again, and yeah, and they always supported me. There was never, you should, have a safety. I love them for that. They just supported me. They drove me up to New York City to put me on the train. I had a cell phone long before. I was the first kid in my high school to have a cell phone in 1996.
How old are you?
1996. Yeah, and so I'm grateful for that. And I pounded the pavement in New York City for a very, very long time, and then I got Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Thank you. Yeah, that was my first professional job, and I'm very lucky, and that was tremendous. And I've been learning ever since.
I was your first Hallmark movie.
And that's right, Taylor was my very first Hallmark movie. Rady, Dahlonega, Georgia.
Well, that's a really good segue to what I want to ask. So I'm always fascinated that these Hallmark movies film in like 14 days. It's a quick process because you put out so many movies, especially at Christmas time. So I'm curious to know what that process is like versus other shows that you've been on, which obviously are not, they're not shooting in 14 days. It's not the same thing. Do you prefer it that way, like 14 days, and it's a formula?
I like in and out. It's great. You're excited the first week, a little tired the next week, you're ready to go home on the third week, and then it's done.
I find that we become a family so quickly.
So fast.
And by the third week, I'm like a 10-year-old again. Like, no, we can't leave. We just started having fun. It's hard for me. I have so much fun doing it, and yeah. It's dizzying how quickly it all happens, and how.
I feel like we promised that we would keep in touch, and I haven't seen you since.
Yeah, it's the first. We're on the couch right now. It's the first time I've seen you. So it's really, and we never thought we'd be coming back to Dahlonega, Georgia, because it seemed like a pretty random place to find ourselves, and here we are together again. It's pretty cool.
Do you guys have any fun stories on set?
Oh boy. We were just reminiscing the other day. So if you go in, I don't know, I think they're doing a tour of like the movies they made in town. And there was a scene at the end of our movie, which I think was the very first one to be filmed. Not that it matters, but I'm pretty sure it was the first one that was filmed in Dahlonega. But it doesn't matter, but I'm pretty sure it was. And so, towards the end of the movie, there's a scene where the other guy in the movie, it's like between us, or he loved her, but she loved me, and I loved her, and she had to kind of decide or like let him down. And he was there. We did it right in the town square out there, wherever that is. And it was
7 unpaid extras.
7 unpaid extras being the whole village. And the way it was staged was that there was like just a little decline on the sidewalk there. And he was on the downhill side and she was on the uphill side. But then she says, "I'm sorry, I don't love you," or whatever it was. And he steps away. And then I'm behind him, which elevation-wise was even lower because it's still further downhill. And so I remember the first take, from my perspective, he was a tall guy also. So he was pretty tall, uphill from me. And so she doesn't love him. "I'm sorry, I don't love you. Please leave." He leaves. And I watched her, what perspective should I do this from? So this was what I saw. You're me. And I saw her go from him down to me. And I died laughing.
I think we both did.
She realized what happened.
This is the one.
"I don't love you. I don't love you. You're not what I want."
Neither of you. You're the one.
It was hilarious.
That was good.
I think I asked for like 3 apple boxes to stand on, and on like a wooden ramp, so it was pretty gradual.
That was good. I also remember us shooting a scene on a balcony and it was snowing, they're blowing in the snow, so it's this loud whirling, you know, and we're having this intimate moment, we're talking to each other, looking in each other's eyes, and behind the camera you hear people whispering, like, "What, have we ruined the scene? What's going on? Are we not doing it right? Is this not connecting?" And they're like, no, you're fine, you're fine. And we continue on with the scene, and then finally I'm like, okay, what was going on? Something dramatic is happening. I could see everyone basically freaking out behind camera. And they were like, "You're in the wrong wardrobe." And I was like, "Are you joking me?" So now you go back and watch Christmas Homestead. I'm wearing the same outfit, which actually should happen more often because people wear the same outfit.
Sure.
Yeah. She didn't pack for a month. Or maybe, I don't know. Anyway.
That is so funny. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. It was.
But they just went with it. They were like, "We're not reshooting
We
this.
can't
There's
change
not
it
enough
now."
time. There's
Yeah.
14 days. And that's the thing about it. You're locked in.
Very little slack in that schedule.
Yeah.
For mistakes like that.
Yeah.
We it was late September. We had, I mean, it was 97 degrees.
Yeah.
And we were shooting in a little house. I think my character's residence was this little house right off the square, and the hallways were, I don't know, 1.5 feet wide. And there was 47 people in the house, the crew and everything, and we were just dripping, we were melting. It was a story about melting humans. That's what the original
I remember
story.
looking over and seeing Santa Claus and being like, was it, "Is Santa okay? He's not going to make it. Let me open."
It's par for the course, though. I mean, that happens a lot. It usually.
Yeah.
We often shoot these out of season, and so.
Also, another really funny story is they were trying to save as much money as possible, bless their hearts. So they had like the guy who did transpo, or the guy who did locations was doing the effects, and he was doing stunts. So he climbs up in the tree and he's gonna fall out of the tree. And as he climbs up, they're about to roll and somebody yells action. He looks around and he's like, "Nobody flocked the tree." He's like, "That's my job." And he goes to get back down. He has to go flock the tree and get back up. I mean, that's when you're wearing too many hats, when you forget that you have to do your job.
He was 22 years old. He was like a producer on it with the production company, but he was doing 9 other things. The poor kid was working his butt off.
It was wild.
And they had, I think for all the town square scenes, they had, they welcomed the locals to come out and be background in the movie and fill in the town square. And they didn't pay them. Most movies, I thought they paid them, but they didn't. I guess with this production company was really trying to.
The town will be so excited. They'll come out and everybody will want to be an extra in this movie. And
a night shoot is it is a thing to endure. It can be tricky.
Sure, but then
By 3 in the morning, the grand finale scene where there should be like the entire town around us. Everyone had left. The kids were exhausted. The parents couldn't deal with the exhausted kids, so we're not getting paid. We saw how they make the movie.
we're out of here.
God bless, we're gone.
So the final scene is like 7 extras when it's supposed to be like a whole town of people.
Our director was unflappable though, and so he's been around the block a million times. He's done massive movies. He's like, it'll be fine. He lined everyone up. The 4 people who were left, he lined them up in a row, all facing the same direction, and he got a really big long lens. And so with a long lens, that much is in focus. It's called the depth of field. And so on screen, everything is blurry behind us. And if there's anything in front of us, that's blurry. Our noses and eyes are in focus. And so he staggered the 4 people behind us, and it looks like we're in Madison Square Garden. It's packed. But I was in disbelief. We're screwed. We quit now. It was really funny. We had a lot of laughs.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Do we get some crowd questions?
Yeah, let's get some crowd questions. Jen's gonna come down there and raise your hand, guys, if you have a question. My question for you guys while we're waiting on the crowd is, what's your favorite movie?
I still to this day say Christmas in Homestead when somebody asks me. Because it was just,
You do?
I do. I do.
I feel like a jerk now. I mean, I do.
I could tell.
I
it
don't
wasn't
choose.
yours, so.
I don't choose. No, it was my very first Hallmark movie, and so it has a very special place in my heart. And
Keep going.
yeah, and Taylor is so wonderful and beautiful and kind. I'm gonna
pay
keep
you
going.
later.
Yeah, I nailed that though, right? I earned the extra $5 on that one. I think. A silly story. My daughter, my third child, my wife was pregnant with my third child when I got this movie, my first Hallmark movie. I was living in Los Angeles at the time, and it was shooting here. And so 6 days after my daughter Olive was born, I had to leave my wife and my 2 boys and my newborn daughter and come here and start shooting for 15
Put up
days.
with me.
And put up with this one over here. And so I would go back to Los Angeles on the weekends, swoop in, be as helpful as I could and supportive and dad and energetic and 0 sleep and rest and night parenting. And then I flew back here. I'd get in my car and down in Atlanta, drive up here, ready to go. By the second weekend, I was on empty. Went back to Los Angeles. Sunday night, I'm sitting in the terminal at the gate waiting to board. I am a zombie. And I fell asleep sitting on the edge of my chair like this. The gate is right there. And I fell asleep sitting up. And I woke up and I immediately, sleepily and confusedly knew what was happening. And I went to stand up and my legs had fallen asleep because of how they were. And I fell in like a loud, awkward moment. The whole terminal stopped and was like, is this man, what has happened? That would be really weird if you saw that happen. My hat went flying across the floor, my flip-flops came off, and I knew what was happening. I had to get on the plane. I knew the counter was right there, and I couldn't walk. I started army crawling across. I need to get on the flight, but I was down here, you guys. I was like this. I had to get on the plane. It gets worse. It gets worse. I climb up the counter. I'm not exaggerating. You think I'm exaggerating, and I'm not exaggerating. I truly am. I climb up, I get on the counter. I have to get on the plane. Sir, I'm sorry. It's backed away from the gate already. It's too late. No, you don't understand. I said, I'm an actor. I really said that. That's so embarrassing. She said, sir, I'm sorry. We can't get the plane back. You can't. I have to get to set. I'm sorry, sir. You have to get a new plane. And I'm still tired and confused, and I can kind of walk now. So I said, I know what I'm going to do. This is a great idea. I'm going to walk around and find people who are traveling somewhere south. And I don't even know if this is possible. I'm going to ask them for their flight. I found a service member of someone in the military, and I am an idiot. I said, excuse me, sir, could I have your flight? And he looked, I'm an idiot. He looked at me like I was insane. He's like, no, what are you talking about? I called my mother-in-law back at the house, and I said, this is horrible. I've let the whole crew, I'm gonna mess the whole movie up. This is terrible. She said, you know there's other airlines, right? I would have paid $30,000 it was the worst feeling in the world. If you've woken up and missed your, when you have to be at work or something, it's the worst feeling in the world. I would have given all the money that I didn't have to just get on some flying thing to get me to Atlanta. And so, okay, right, there's other airlines. I went and I booked a flight, and I got back at 3 in the morning, and I drove up and made it to set, and hair and makeup was like, are you okay? we're not magicians.
So we have a fan question from you. This is Allison. She has a question for the both of you, and I'm really excited to hear it because she says it's a very deep question. This is a question that she asks famous people on Zoom. This is like a thing, so I feel like this is going to be like an Oprah interview situation. I have no idea where she's going with this. Did we bring the tissues? Because I'm a crier.
I'm going to jump on the couch.
So life gives you moments. I call them profound moments that change you, shape you, make you who you are as you grow. What has been a profound moment for you?
To be clear, not making these movies, in life, just in life.
Yeah, in life, and I can give you an example if necessary.
Do you want to share? I'd love to hear yours.
Yeah, when I was 15, I got sick. Nobody could figure out what was wrong, and I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. I am 50 years old. I've lived with it for 35 years. And every day I get up and I'm grateful. My daughter just turned 15. She doesn't have it. But I know I could talk to her and walk her through what that life-changing moment was like.
Wow, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely gonna cry, guys.
So what is that moment for the two of you? Do you have a moment in your life that?
Oh my goodness. So many moments have made me who I am, but the one that was, let's tie it into Hallmark world, I was shooting a movie, what was it called? It was my latest one with the pink outfit, A Reason for the Season. A Reason for the Season, and one of my best friends survived cancer, and then her cancer came back, and while I was shooting that movie, she passed away. We really need tissues. But we were shooting nights, so I would cry myself to sleep, and I would go back to set, and Kevin McGeary, I don't know if you guys, are there any parties out there? There you go. He is an angel, and he was so sweet, and I said, here's the deal. I'm doing this for my girl. She would want me, because even production, everyone at Hallmark was so supportive, and they were like, do you want to take a break? Do you want to take a day off? You can take an insurance day. And I was like, no. My girl would want me to push through. I'm going to do it for her. And, I had to deal with him. I was like, we're going to come to set, and you make me laugh every moment of the day. And he did. And it was awesome. And that scene, when I came back, the first scene that we shot, we were hanging ornaments. He wasn't in the scene, but we were hanging ornaments in the diner on a Christmas tree, and there was a whole box of ornaments, and I got to pick out the ornament, and it was this beautiful little angel, and I was like, this is my girl, and she's the clumsiest human on earth, so the fact that she was this graceful angel made me so happy. But just pushing through those hard moments where you feel like you just cannot, and there's no way that you could possibly, and then you do, and that's really telling. It's beautiful.
I somehow cannot imagine you not smiling or laughing, because I don't think it's possible. That's like
Well, I sort of smile and cry.
it's your default. You're not smiling or laughing. Oh, nice. Oh, that was beautiful. A moment for me that was actually oddly connected to when I was making one of these as well. I just happened to be up making one of these when the the shooting in Las Vegas happened. But it's fine. I didn't lose anyone in it, but I know, right? My best friend was there, and that was heavy, and that was we were just in hair and makeup that morning, and we saw the news what happened the day before, and it was in Canada, so maybe the news was slow to get there, but that was a moment, and he sure is, my God, it changed his life, and it's just to be that close. And fortunately, I was a lucky one. I didn't lose my best friend, but a lot of people did, and it was one of those moments that shows you how fragile it all is and how quick it all is. And
things in perspective.
But we will all have one of those moments, or many. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love that. That was a great question. I have Tracy here, who's a drama teacher, who has a really great question.
I just wanted to know, I love both of your movies, everything. But when you're getting into character, especially like with the Ruby Hair Mysteries or any of the various roles that you play, do y'all do any like character research, or how do you get into the character and really get the knowledge that you need to do those roles?
They're all a little version of me. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a really good question, though.
I mean, this one is the trained actor. I'm the accidental actor, so he's got a whole process. I know that for sure.
I just saw something the other day about Meryl Streep. Someone asked her about her process, and I'm not equating myself to Meryl Streep, but she did say something that feels very true, is that the process is very clunky, and it's a weird thing to find your way through, let alone to share your way through it. And mine has certainly changed over the course of 20 years. But for now, right now, I have a coach that I found, and we sort of work as finding pieces of this character that it's looking for catharsis for me, Michael, for things in my life that I might need to completion on or closure with or some catharsis. And if I can connect that with my character's journey, I can kind of have an agreement with my character that we're going to do this together, and that you have a little bit of this that I need, but I also have this that you need. It might sound like, I don't know, I don't want to sound...
You sound great.
Okay, I don't want to say...
Don't judge it.
But that's kind of, right now, that's sort of something that's been really powerful for me that has been helpful.
A huge part of my process is letting the creatives around me do their thing. Going into wardrobe, they have a vision, and when they put that character together, you're like, yes. And I want them to express how, what they feel and what they can contribute, because I trust everyone in this world, and they're all professionals, and I want them to stand out in their field. So, getting ideas from them creates the character for me, and I just bring it all together through like a team effort. It really is. It's just this beautiful coming together, so many energies, so many good ideas and people, and bad ideas too. I mean, there's obviously.
But all ideas are welcome.
Exactly.
You can't get the good ones without the bad ones.
That's right.
The collaboration is so important.
Yeah.
Some people don't collaborate, which is...
some people have a dead set way they want to do something, and that spins everything into a tailspin. And that's why when you're on these tight schedules, I'm like, I want to see what you bring to the table. You tell me how this was pictured in your mind. What purse would, you're picking out everything from the jewelry she wears to the purse that she's going to carry down the street, and they all make a difference. And I love to watch and see what they want, or what they believe, or what they want to bring to the table. And then it feels like a group effort, and then I feel more secure in that somehow. I feel like I'm playing everyone's character, and it helps.
Yeah, it's you can't prepare also. I can only prepare my piece of it so much, but I don't know what you're going to show up with.
Yeah.
And that is so, there's this, alchemy that happens for this very reason, for all the people to come together with their ideas and their creativity. And when it clicks, it's really exciting. And all of my ideas, my preparation might go out the window.
Yeah.
And we just make something entirely new.
Yeah.
And that's usually, it's very exciting.
Yeah, playing off the energy of the other people in the room.
And when the director's comfortable enough, and I've fortunately had this several times, and they're like, do whatever you want to do. I also want you to do what I ask you to do, but I want you to do truly, I want you to try everything that you want to try also. And that is the ultimate gift when to do that. When
I like to be told what to do, so when I do it wrong, I can blame it on them. That's my plan.
All right, we got another question over here. Hi, my name's Grace. I've been doing the content and helping out with it. And my question is, what is a character trait of yourself that you have given to a character? And what's a character trait that you feel you've gained or learned from playing that certain character?
I walk like a duck, and every one of my characters.
Being nice to my friend
A
Taylor.
cute duck. Okay. I mean, I don't know what it is, but my feet go out. It's not a graceful. Most of my characters just have that, and you see directors going, "Is that how you really walk?" Yes, and actually, I'm trying to be better about it. So yeah, there's no hiding that particular part of me. What about you?
Well, I personally just want to say, and I hope you believe it, that I've never once considered your walk.
Well, you should see my run. My run is way worse. But luckily on Hallmark movies, you're not running a lot. But before Hallmark World, I was gun-toting. I was a bad girl.
Duck walking, gun-toting.
Yeah, but she would run off screen. I was like, are we sure she runs off screen? I don't know. I feel like she would saunter off.
Maybe the camera just pans off of me.
Yes, exactly.
Thinking.
Yeah, so I was grateful for Hallmark movies, but I still walk, it's not graceful. It's not cute. I actually saw myself in a CVS, the security cameras, the CVS, and I was like, who walks like, oh my God, that's me. That's me. I was like, why am I walking like a monster? Just like walk heavy foot and like kind of sideways. My run's insane. Oh God, it's so bad. Anyway, all my characters walk like that.
It's a great question, though, Grace. You guys have really good questions. I feel like, I don't know, I don't like watching myself, but I guess something I feel that I like to share with my characters is my sensitivity. That's something I feel like makes its way into everything I do is that, my sensitivity.
And then something that we've got from it, right?
Something that we get back from it. I love it. Kind of plays into what I was saying there. So I do feel like I like to get, I get strength sometimes from characters. I don't feel like a very imposing person, or I'm like fascinated by people who are fighters, or so. I don't have a fighting bone in my body, and so that's kind of fun for me if I can share that with a character, and
Clothes, the clothes. I like to keep the clothes. No, I'm just kidding. What's fun is that every character that we play, we are essentially falling in love with the other person on screen. That's the world that we're being asked to step into, and I find it so beautiful. Oh, everything, guys. To find something that you just adore about somebody, and this man with his child of 6 days old, flying back and forth and making so many sacrifices, you find this way to just love something about somebody, and I've just taken that with me everywhere. You can find something to love about everyone, even enemies, even people you can't stand. When you go to Thanksgiving and you're like, oh, I gotta talk to whoever, find something in them, and it changes everything. It's just a different lens that you can look through, and you take on less, I think. you don't get bothered by so much. You can find grace and beauty in any and everybody somehow. Even, I mean, sometimes it's hard, right? But, you know, you can. And I think that's beautiful.
I got to spend 3 weeks with that. She's wonderful.
All right, we got another question back here from Dan.
Hi everybody, I really wanted to thank you first of all for your accessibility. I think we have this perception of actors that they put that facade up, they don't come near anybody, and I want to thank you guys for being so open and just allowing us to reach out to you guys. I think it's not true. I guess my question really is rejection-wise. You know, you go to read for a part, and you're like, I really want this part, and you don't get it. How do you handle that? And you kind of feel like, well, I'm never going to act again.
Yeah. I learned very early on to not take anything personally. And, you know, that it could be, they cast the mother and she's got red hair, so you're not going to get the part. So I just pretend like I did the best of anyone, and no one could top it. But they had to cast somebody else because of physical reasons. Right. That's what I got. I mean, that's the only mind game you can play with yourself. It's sort of like, I did my best. And honestly, that's part of what acting is going in that room, doing your very best and walking away from it. Like, that is what that is your craft. You get to do that, and it's a privilege. So looking at it as like a gift, as opposed to a disappointment or putting so much weight on it. I mean, there's obviously going to be roles you feel are right for you, and oh, why didn't I get it? But taking it as an opportunity just to learn, so you get the next one, or just stepping into the room and that casting director sees you and they put you in something else. You know, there's always a reason you're where you are, and if you believe that, then the rest just kind of fades away.
I had a great support system, as I said. I had a family and friends who all very much believed in me. I went 7 years auditioning in New York. I didn't book a thing, but I was in high school and college and living my dream. I was living a good life, so all of my eggs weren't in that basket yet. But still, it never felt like I'm not actually going to book something. I'll do theater, and I'll have a beautiful life. And then I booked Sisterhood, and it changed. It's a wonderful, you have a really good survival technique. I don't know if you've worked on that.
Of course.
But to be able to, I mean, you write a good narrative. We can write any narrative for something, and you choose to write a very empowering narrative, and I like that. We're all very much the same. We just have a weird job that's it's very different, but otherwise we're all pretty much the same. And people in my life who don't act are like, dude, it's like, if I had to go on an interview for a job several times a day for decades, and I didn't get most of them, that would be brutal. And I was like, wow, you're right, it is that way. I think there's an exposure therapy to it. For 7 years, I just started to, this is just a hobby. I go and I stand in a room and I perform for a second, and it's fine. So I think I got exposure therapy early on with low expectations and just kind of joy. And that gave me a largely indefatigable confidence that carried me through quite a while in Los Angeles in this weird business, because there's a weird business side of it that is unglamorous and that is unenjoyable. And you definitely need some tools to make it through that. And I think that time gave me those tools to get through that. And now you learn, at this point we know and have learned that it is not personal at all. At all. There is nothing personal about it. And it feels like a miracle every time. And it feels like I am excited as the very first time I worked on Sisterhood. I am as excited every time I get a job. I cannot believe that I get to do what I do. I cannot believe it. Good question, thank you.
Yeah, that's a good question. We have time for more, right, Jason? We're good?
10 more.
We got time for 2 more.
2 more, all right.
3. He says 3.
Kind of quick. Since both of you have been actors for as long as you have been, either joined or separate, what would be your dream role? what would be the movie or the show that you would love to do?
Well, I'm not as talented as the marvelous Miss
Don't you do
Maisel, but that
Yes,
show
yes.
was so beautiful and it was so funny, and that felt like something I would just have so much fun doing. You know, did anyone see Marvelous Miss Maisel?
So good.
The costumes and the time period and the storyline, and she was just frantic and silly. I love being silly, and I love rom-coms, and I just love the humor and the fun of it all. I love Lucille Ball, you know.
Of course you do. Of course, like you'd be perfect.
Yeah,
You'd be
so
perfect for
I like to
that.
be silly.
Yeah, you do.
Never grow up. Never grow up, kids.
Oh, I love that about you. I do. I would love to play, like a World War II soldier. I would love that. I regret, when I knew several years ahead of time that Masters of the Air was coming was a story that was going to be developed into a series like by Tom Hanks. And my grandfather was in the 8th Air Force. And I just grew up with such a pride in that, and I even have his like what's it called, a full piece coveralls. I had his coveralls with the last name Rady on it, and it might have been silly to do or cheesy, but I should have just taken a shot and like made a video of myself and just sent it along. I would have loved to have been in that. That was. I think critically it wasn't even the favorite of the 3 series they did, but I had a special attachment and I loved it. But like Band of Brothers, I would just love to do something like that.
Still out there.
It's still out there, it'll happen.
That's right. We have Jill here with our final question. So once you become a part of the Hallmark family, and we notice, that there are several actors that we see in many Hallmark movies, are you required to audition, or are there movies that are written with you in mind as lead characters? How does that process work?
I don't think, I've never auditioned for a Hallmark movie. So even my very first one that I got, and I didn't know what Hallmark World was, so I was so excited. I had dyed my hair white, platinum white, because I just wanted to play a different character. I wanted to summon superhero powers or just do something fun. And then Hallmark called and I said, yeah, this sounds like a great world to be a part of. Do you know that my hair is white? And they were like, yeah, you're gonna have to tone that down. That's ridiculous. So then I went blonde and I did my first movie, but yeah, I feel like they know. They're really good at casting what they see fit for everyone. Did you audition?
Yeah, no, I didn't audition either. I was told, as I kind of had similar questions, when I landed in this world in Dahlonega 8 years ago, I'm like, what is this? What is happening? And people say that you don't find Hallmark, they find you. And there was a wonderful casting director named Penny Perry. She's been around for a long time, and she's seen a lot of actors, and she knew me before she got to Hallmark, and she had cast me in a couple of things. And so once she got to Hallmark, and is largely in charge of most of the faces of Hallmark that you've come to know and love, she put them there. She no longer works at Hallmark, but she is very much one of the reasons that a lot of us are here. She's been a champion for us, and she's so good at what she does. And we just got emails one day. Yeah, it's.
You know what just dawned on me? I can't believe this is not my first answer, but my husband was an executive producer at Hallmark. And that sounds weird. Okay, he was not my husband at the time. He was an executive, this lovely gentleman who became my husband was an executive producer at Hallmark, and he saw me on Supernatural or something like that, and he said, "Why isn't this girl doing this?" Yeah, I said, why isn't this girl doing this? So he brought me into the world, and then we became friends, and I was dating somebody at the time, and he was so tall and handsome and smart, and I love matchmaking. It's like one of my favorite things to do. So I'm like, I'm setting you up with all my friends. So So I set him up with like 2 or 3 of my friends. We went on blind dates and they were terrible. And then I broke up with the person and then I was like, hang on a second, I'm gonna matchmake you with me. But he had left Hallmark already, I think a few years before that. But we were friends for a good 3 years and I tried to set him up with all my friends. This is really weird, but it worked out. And I'm a matchmaker.
I think it definitely worked out.
Successful. And then I shot that movie called Millionaire Matchmaker, which is essentially the same thing. Like
You were part of, your life was a Hallmark movie.
Hallmark movie.
Weird meta in a weird meta way. I also think about the script thing, I believe writers, as they either pitch their script or if they just send a pitch in, which is just an overall idea for the movie, before they go and spend the time crafting and creating the script, they will just give a pitch. A lot of times, if that pitch gets, if Hallmark scoops that up, that writer can say, hey, this is who I would love to play it. So they can either give their top couple choices, who they sort of wrote it for, but in the end, it does come down to the casting at Hallmark, who answers to the head of Hallmark. And I believe there's a couple executives, a large handful of executives who are in charge of 4 or 5 projects each, who are always juggling 5 to 10 projects at a time, one of which might go into production, and then a few months later, the next one does. So, yeah, I don't know, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
All right, everybody, give them a round of applause.
Thanks for all your questions. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming this weekend.
My legs are asleep.
Been there, done that.